And I was going to say that when BC talked about private police, that's private security outfits for maybe a Morayo who is on TV.
VIPs.
Wait now.
Depending on how much you can
Tiwa Savage and Two-Face and Wizkid, all of those people have private security men guarding them.
Okay.
Right? So, but we're talking about they don't have police. That's what I'm saying. Private, as in private security outfits. Right. Now, what we need to do to encourage, there are over 16 million people without jobs in the last 2 years in Nigeria. Okay. If the police salary was like 200,000, how many people do you think will be applying there?
Of course.
Pay them well.
So if you are a policeman, let me ask you, if you are a policeman and they say you should employ more people to come and take inside the small salary that you have, will you employ? You will say, I beg, the salary that I will collect is not enough for me.
Chidi, are you there?
I think all these things is all about corruption. 80% of the number of policemen are guiding politicians. How many of them are guiding Nigerians? You see, the police themselves, they lobby to get themselves posted to these politicians. And because the politicians have money to throw away, so why wouldn't they send them to them? Me and you, we are just at the mercy of God. Let's go. But otherwise, the government is not doing their job.
Thank you very much, Chidi. That's a very good point you've raised. I think we're all saying the same thing in different ways. Yeah. We all agree that they're not paying the police are poorly paid. Because if we had more police, then we can actually hire more and then have them across the country. Yeah. Unfortunately, the reason why they're going to private companies, private individuals, is because they can actually pay. So
yes, pay
also someone saying, yes, please.
Ojo Oluwasegun says, sometimes seeing all these men moving with heavy policemen keeps me wondering if there's going to be a war front. Bless you, house.
All right, we have to run now. That's all we can take on this segment. Let's take a break now. When we return, it's Tuesday. We'll be discussing leukemia. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back. Welcome back to Your View.
Thanks for joining us. So, leukemia is a form of blood cancer that is threatening our society today. There isn't enough sensitization on leukemia as it is for breast cancer and the likes. This, according to statistics, has 94% death rate in Nigeria, which means that out of every 20 Nigerians with leukemia, only one survives. Joining us on the show is the founder, Timileyin Leukemia Foundation, Janet Modupe Oyelade. Welcome to the show, madam.
Thank you very much.
And we also have a consultant and hematologist, Dr. Oluwatosin Adeyemo, joining us on the show. Welcome, madam.
Thank you.
So we know that leukemia is obviously fatal. People, a lot of people have died on this. I'd like you to share your story concerning the journey with leukemia and why you started the foundation for leukemia.
Thank you very much. It's a long story.
Yes.
It actually began with a malaria. It was running temperature at night. So in the morning, it was taken to the hospital. Getting to the hospital, it was treated for malaria for 3 days on admission. After, it was discharged. Then from there, 2-3 days later, recurrence of leukemia, malaria. So it was taken back to the hospital. Right. So we keep on taking him in and out of the hospital until we decided to take him to General Hospital, Lagos State Teaching Hospital. Right. Getting to Lagos State Teaching Hospital, was a series of tests was run. After the test, it was discovered that it has anemia. So I was like, anemia? So what is anemia? So it was giving blood. First blood transfusion was the 4th, 2010, January. So after then, he was well and he was doing well. So we went back home. There was no more pain. He was actually complaining of pain on his left leg at first. So there was no more pain and he was doing well. So 3 weeks after then, he started complaining of pain on the same left leg again. Right. So we went back to the hospital. So we are on admission and more tests have to be done to know what actually happened to him. So after the test, the doctor called me to their office, hematology office, and said, "Madam, sit down," which I did. And he said, "How many children do you have?" How many children do you have? It's the only child I have. say, your only child. So he knocked his head. I know something is happening, but
Right.
I can't actually explain it. So I sat down and he said, if he's your only child, I think there's a problem here. I said, okay, what do we do? That the child will need a bone marrow transplant,
Right.
which it has to be taken from a child from me. I said, no, if it's a child from family member, I can
Right.
always get a child from. He said, no, that it has to be a child from
from
me.
you.
And it's not even done in Nigeria.
Oh.
It's done abroad. I don't have such money. I'm a civil servant. And we started. I was overwhelmed. I was down, crying. What can I do? How can I start? In fact, I was in the hospital for like 3, 4, 5 months.
Right.
From the hospital to the office, I was
Yes.
shutting up
Right.
like that.
How long,
Office-
how long was he in the hospital for?
For Lagos State Teaching Hospital, we were there for almost 4 months.
Wow.
And I wasn't sleeping at home.
Right.
And in the hospital, we are not allowed to sleep on the floor. You lay your head on the bed, you are in trouble. You'll
Right.
be sent out
Yes.
from the hospital. So it wasn't easy for me, but
Right.
since he's my only child, because I gave birth to him 3 years after marriage,
Right.
so he's a child we actually look up to.
Right.
So, but that could not happen. So after some times, we were asked to, a family doctor who is at Ife,
Right.
Obafemi Teaching Hospital, came down and checked, and he said, no, this child, the tummy was coming out, the eye was coming out, he couldn't walk
Because
again.
of time,
Yeah.
I want us to get, unfortunately, your son passed on.
Yes.
How old was he?
He was 8.5 years when he passed on.
Right. And since then, you've not had another child, have you?
No.
Okay.
Okay, I want to run to solution quickly. We
Yeah, yeah,
know
who-
that leukemia is cancer of the blood, right? And is not preventable. What are the things that we can do not to be susceptible to this cancer?
I'll let you answer that. But I was going to hinge on this story.
Okay.
Because a lot of mothers find themselves going back and forth to the hospital with malaria. As a mother, at what point must you take your child to the specialist? Because these things happen every single day where you get to the point where, so
even
we'll come to
just
leukemia, but at what point
Adults
do
too.
you
Come on with
go to
children.
the specialist? And could you, based on her story, what could she have done differently?
I don't know at what point she went to the hospital. Maybe she had been jumping from one private hospital
Definitely
to
the
the
only
other.
child.
Right, right.
Immediate effects to the
But,
hospital.
you know, usually when you go for testing outside of disease,
Yes.
you know, like it's not when you have a fever or a cough.
Right.
You're doing a blood test, you're doing x-rays, and then the doctor picks it up. They say, oh, it's bad. Even when you tell yourself, maybe on my birthday, I must do some routine tests. Same for your children. So you could pick it up
Earlier.
from your blood workup. Yes, you could.
Right.
you see,
so,
I-
so if they had picked it up earlier, maybe they would have different results?
You know, you can't really blame.
Probably not,
Okay.
because the end result is usually fatal, especially in this part of the world.
Okay.
Yes.
I was going to say, you can't really blame her because my cousin had leukemia. And his father was the former minister of health. So my uncle never used any other hospital except
Right.
Luth. And he went there. They said it was anemia. That's why her story, they said it was anemia until he went into a coma. It was from the coma that the family said, everybody gathered their money and sent him. It was leukemia.
Right.
So
So
he's
going to
alive today
Jumoke's-
because he went abroad.
So going to Jumoke's question now. On
Yeah, which is that how can, because it's not preventable. How do we, what are the things that we can do to prevent, being exposed to leukemia?
Well, generally, people will want to ask, what's the cause? Because if you know the cause, you probably want to prevent it.
Yeah.
Well, largely, it's unknown, but there are some risk factors.
Okay.
Okay, maybe where you stay. You stay in industrialized areas.
So
you're
pollution?
exposed- pollution,
Okay.
benzene and the likes.
Okay.
Maybe you stay under a high tension cable, so
Okay.
vibration.
Wow.
Yeah, because when there's a change in your genes, yes, and you begin to mutate, so you're at risk of developing leukemia.
Let me quickly ask.
Yes.
We know that, like, for instance, this cancer thing, we know that somehow we don't get a cure for cancer. Somehow.
Okay.
Now, is it hereditary? Can you have a child that just has that disease in the blood? Or is it something, it's not hereditary, you must acquire it somehow?
Most times it's acquired from the environment.
Wow.
These telephone masts, do they, because I've heard that the radiation from these telephone masts, and they're all over the place.
You said the word radiation, so
Yeah.
you're at risk.
Even for microwaves.
Microwave, yeah.
Yes.
Even from your iPad.
I don't have microwave in my house.
Your phones, yeah, it's
There's radiation
It's all
around
over.
us. So, and because we do not know, somebody falls down with malaria, you go to Luth and they tell you it's anemia. So, every case of leukemia in Nigeria, is it like 99% fatal? Or there's something that we can do to, one, find out quickly enough and ensure that Wike's cousin is alive because he went abroad.
So what did they do?
You know what?
Exactly.
Let's be clear.
Right.
Okay, there are different types of leukemia. You won't just say leukemia is fatal.
Right.
Some are actually manageable.
Okay.
Some will not. There's some when you get, I can probably guess the one Hassan had. There's some you would have and you're like looking at, okay, few months expectancy. and
Wow.
life expectancy. And there's some you're like 10 years, 15 years,
But
we're doing good.
So he actually
There
came out of
there
leukemia.
are like 4 broad
he came out?
types.
Yes, he came out of leukemia.
Yeah, they're
There's this
What killed him?
issue. I don't know if it could be
Your
done for
call.
leukemia as
Okay.
a doctor, where you have to transfuse blood,
No, bone marrow.
bone marrow transplant.
Yes.
Can it be done to correct leukemia?
Oh, sure. That's like the definitive solution.
Is it
Do we
done in
do it here?
Nigeria?
That's the thing. The stem cell transplant, that's the word, okay? It was done in Nigeria for a while, but usually it was just done on sickle cell patients. That's at UBTH, University of Benin Teaching Hospital. But because of funds, political will, and all the likes, it's moribund.
Jesus.
So probably now, if it was still on, yeah, we would have advanced to
That's why I say let us
leukemia.
ban all politicians
From traveling
don't
abroad.
travel abroad.
Well,
Treat yourself. If that
the
is the only
country.
way, they will make sure that the hospitals
will
are
work.
working.
That's all the
So we're
acronyms.
going to take a break. But
Okay.
when we come back, I want you to focus on what the foundation is about, because there are lots of women in your shoes that maybe could have done something to prevent it, or will need help to get quick diagnosis to, or even get the funds to go and get the bone marrow transplant outside the country. Let's find out what your foundation is about after this break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned.